everybody, welcome back. My name is Prescott. I'm here at PsychSync, Succinct Psychology, and today we're going to continue where we left off from Chapter 8 of the online OpenStax 2E Psychology textbook. This chapter we're doing now is memory, so we're going to continue, like I just said, and we're going to start off, if you guys remember from the last video, we identified the different parts of the brain involved in memory. So you have the prefrontal cortex, amygdala, hippocampus, and the cerebellum, but we're going to go further into detail about those parts. So first off, we have the amygdala, and we've talked about these parts before. I can't remember off the top of my head which unit that was. It was one of the earlier ones. So this will be kind of, funny. We were talking about how if you learn something in the past, and then you kind of forget about it, and then you go back later to relearn it, you'll remember it better. It'll be easier for you than it was the first time. So we're kind of doing that right now. So anyways, the amygdala is involved in fear and fear memories. So memory storage is influenced by stress hormones and processes emotional information important in encoding memories at a deeper level in memory consolidation. Now, the hippocampus is associated with explicit memory, recognition memory, and spatial memory. It projects information to cortical regions that give memories meaning and connect them with other memories, and it is involved in memory consolidation. Now, damage leads to an inability to process new declarative memories. So I don't know if you guys remember, but I brought up an easy way to remember these two parts. Role, amygdala, I think of it, there's a character in this video game I played, it was this big, ugly, spider-like monster, which is freaky, so amygdala, fear memories. And then hippocampus is involved in memory consolidation. If you saw a bunch of hippos on your campus, you would remember that. You'd be like, why are there hippos here? So, continuing on, we have the cerebellum, which plays a role in processing procedural memories, such as how to play the piano and classical conditioning. Now, damage prevents classical conditioning, such as an eye blink, in response to a puff of air. Now, the prefrontal cortex appears to be involved in remembering semantic tasks. Now, PET scans show activation in the left inferior prefrontal cortex when completing semantic tasks. Encoding is associated with left frontal activity, and retrieval of information is associated with the right frontal region. Moving on, we have neurotransmitters. So communication among neurons via neurotransmitters is critical for developing new memories. Now, repeated neuron activity leads to increased neurotransmitters in the synapse, which leads to stronger synaptic connections. This is how memory consolidation occurs. Now, neurotransmitters involved in memory include epinephrine, dopamine, serotonin, glutamate, and acetylcholine. And we have also, if I'm remembering correctly, have spoken about these neurotransmitters. Now the arousal theory is that strong emotions trigger the formation of strong memories, and weaker emotional experiences form weaker memories. So strong emotional experiences can trigger the release of neurotransmitters, which strengthen the memory. Evidenced by flashball memories, an exceptionally clear recollection of an important emotional event. So flashball memory, a record of an atypical and unusual event that has very strong emotional associations. So depending on the age and awareness/interest of the person, certain flashball memories can act as a generational reference points. Examples include the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, or Robert Kennedy, the first humans landing on the moon, and the attacks of 9/11. Now, flashbulb memory formation may depend on cultural reference and personal investment/involvement. So, for example, a national leader suddenly resigning may become a flashbulb memory for those citizens only, and an athlete suddenly retiring may become a flashbulb memory for fans of that sport or team. So 9/11 is the most recent flashbulb memory that has been extensively researched. Next, we have amnesia, which is the loss of long-term memory that occurs as the result of disease, physical trauma, or psychological trauma. There are two common types. Anterograde amnesia, which is the inability to remember new information after point of trauma, is commonly caused by brain trauma, and the hippocampus is usually affected, which causes inability to transfer information from the short-term memory to long-term memory. Now, retrograde amnesia is a loss of memory, partial or complete, for events that occurred prior to the drama. So antro after, retro prior. And here you have retrograde, you lose your memory of events that occurred prior to the event. Anterograde is the inability to remember new stuff. So if you had a traumatic event, you had anterograde amnesia, you would have an inability to retain new information. Next, we have memory construction and reconstruction. So construction is a formulation of new memories, while reconstruction is the process of bringing up old memories. So when we retrieve memories, we tend to unintentionally alter and modify them, resulting in inaccuracies and distortions. So suggestibility. Suggestibility is the effects of misinformation from external sources that leads to the creation of false memories. It can cause people to claim to remember something that was only a suggestion someone made. Memories are fragile, making them vulnerable to the power of suggestion. And an important area of study has been the role of suggestibility in eyewitness testimonies. So, eyewitness misidentification. Eyewitness identification in testimony is often used in the persecution of criminals. Now, research suggests that suggestive police identification procedures can lead to alterations in an eyewitness's memory, leading to misidentification. So here we have a chart, leading cause of wrongful conviction in DNA exoneration cases. Here on the Y, you have percentage of wrongful convictions, so the first 239 DNA exonerations, and then you have the leading causes. So you can see eyewitness misidentification is responsible for like 75%, whereas forensic science is just under 50, false confession just over 20, and informant is right under 20. So in studying cases where DNA evidence has exonerated people from crimes, the Innocence Project discovered that eyewitness misidentification is the leading cause of wrongful convictions, which obviously you don't want wrongful convictions. It's not good for anybody. So the misinformation effect. So Elizabeth Loftus studied false memories. Now, misinformation effect paradigm is after exposure to incorrect information, a person may misremember the original event. So there was a study done in 1974 which asked college students to estimate the speed of cars using different forms of questions. Now, participants were shown films of car accidents and were asked to play the role of eyewitnesses and describe what happened. So they were asked about how fast were the cars going when they, crashed each other. Participants that heard the word smashed, well, they used all these different words, but participants that heard the word smashed estimated that the cars were traveling a lot faster than those that heard the word contacted. If they heard the word glass, they were more than twice as likely to say they remember seeing glass, which is a false memory. And then the implied meaning of the word used influenced the participants' memory of the accident. So just using the word smashed influenced their memory of it. So, Loftus study. When people are asked leading questions about an event, their memory of the event may be altered. As we can see here, the perceived speed was much higher when they used words like smashed, collided, and then when it got to like bumped and hit and contacted, their memory of the event, the perceived speed was much lower. So, oh, whoops, that was weird. We had a little glitch there. Sorry about that, everybody. All right, so next we have repressed and recovered memories. So a controversial topic within psychology is the idea that whole events can be repressed or falsely recalled. Now, false memory syndrome is the recall of false autobiographical memories. Now, repressed memories, some psychologists believe it is possible to completely repress traumatic childhood memories such as sexual abuse. This can lead to psychological distress in adulthood. Some believe that these can be recalled through hypnosis and guided imagery techniques. Now, Loftus challenges the idea of repressed memories and questions if recalled memories are accurate or whether the process of questioning and suggestibility leads to the misinformation effect. So, how can suggestibility be avoided when questioning eyewitnesses? Little question you can think to yourself, and if you want to, leave a comment. We can have a little discussion about it. So, why do we forget? Now, forgetting, is a loss of information from long-term memory. Now, this is encoding failure occurs when the memory is never stored in our memory in the first place. So successful encoding requires effort and attention. So can you tell which coin is the accurate depiction of a US nickel? Most Americans cannot tell which one because we do not encode the specific details. We just know enough to differentiate it from other coins. And I'll tell you right now, I couldn't tell you with 100% certainty which coin is the correct depiction of a US nickel. All I know is the size of it, the color, so I know it's a nickel. Now, memory errors. So you have Schachter's 7 sins of memory. You have forgetting type, which are One, transience, the accessibility of memory decreases over time, or storage decay. Then you have absent-mindedness, which is forgetting caused by lapses in attention, and blocking, which is the accessibility of information is temporarily blocked, aka tip of the tongue phenomenon. So when you're like, oh, I was going to say something, what was I going to say? If you say, I was on tip of my tongue, you just blinked out. Now, we have the distortion type. So misattribution, which is a source of memory, is confused, and suggestibility, which is false memories, and then we have bias, which is memories distorted by current belief system. And then finally, you have the intrusion type, which is persistence, the inability to forget undesirable memories. Continuing on, we have transience / storage decay. Over time, unused information tends to fade away. So we have Ebbinghaus, 1885, studied the process of memorization. The Ebbinghaus forgetting curve shows how quickly memory for new information decays. So it decays 50% after just 20 minutes and 70% after 24 hours. So here we have a nice chart for better representation. It shows the elapsed time since learning. So you can see 50% was gone after just 20 minutes. So, bias. According to Schachter, your feelings and view of the world can distort your memory of past events. So, stereotypical bias involves racial and gender biases. After presenting people with a list of names, they more frequently incorrectly remember typical African American names to be associated with the occupation basketball player, and typical white names to be associated with the occupation politician. Now, egocentric bias involves enhancing our memories of the past. So, people remember events in a way that make them look better. Then hindsight bias, the tendency to think an outcome, and we talked about this in the last chapter, tendency to think an outcome is inevitable after the fact. So thinking you knew it all along. Then we have persistence. Many veterans of military conflicts involuntarily recall unwanted, unpleasant memories. So, combat, something along those lines. And we have interference. So proactive interference, old information hinders recall of new information. Retroactive interference, new information hinders recall of old information. So, next. Sorry if I'm going a little fast, but I just want to finish up this unit, because we don't have many more slides to go. It would be kind of wasteful, I think, to make a whole new video. So anyways, ways to enhance memory. Rehearsal, which is the conscious repetition of information to be remembered, and chunking, which is organizing information into manageable bits or chunks. So, for example, separating phone numbers into 3 chunks. Then you have elaborative rehearsal, which is a technique in which you think about the meaning of the new information and its relation to knowledge already stored in your memory. Now, mnemonic devices are memory aids that help us organize information for encoding. So, for example, one way to remember the order of the planets is the name MRVMJ Sun. Other techniques can include expressive writing and saying words aloud. Next, we have mnemonic devices. So this is a knuckle mnemonic to help you remember the number of days in each month. Months with 31 days are represented by the protruding knuckles, and shorter months fall in the spots between knuckles. So, starting in January, your knuckle is protruding, so that's a 31-day month, and then the next February is not protruding, so it's less than 31. It's a handy little mnemonic to remember how many days are in a month. And finally, how to study effectively. So memory techniques can be useful when studying for class. So use elaborative rehearsal, link information to other information and memories to make it more meaningful. And step 2 is to apply the self-reference effect. Make information personally meaningful to you. 3, you have don't forget the forgetting curve. Keep studying to prevent storage decay. Step 4 is rehearse. Just keep studying, get it drilled into your head. 5, we have be aware of interference. So study without distractions. Be on your phone or listening to really loud music. 6, keep moving. Aerobic exercise promotes neurogenesis, which is the growth of new brain cells in the hippocampus. So, maybe go for a walk before you study. 7, we have get enough sleep. So you need to, obviously, sleep is good. The brain consolidates memories. It keeps them while you're sleeping. And finally, make use of those mnemonic devices. So, for example, the knuckle thing with the months. You can come up with your own mnemonics in order to help you study and retain the information. Well, guys, that's all for this chapter, Chapter 8, Memory. I hope you guys enjoyed and found it, helpful, educational. Sorry this video was a bit longer, but I just kind of wanted to wrap everything up in a nice little video. So, again, my name is Prescott. I'm here at PsychSync, so Sync Psychology. I hope you guys have a great day, and please leave a comment in the video if you have any questions or any advice or tips or tricks to how we can make these videos better for you guys. Please let me know. But other than that, have a great day. Thanks.